Hey everyone, I'm your host, Robbie Straczynski. Thank you so much for joining us on episode number 91 of CardsChat, the friendliest poker podcast in town. Today's guest is Lex Veldhuis, I hope I pronounced that right, hailing from Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Lex is the most popular Twitch streamer in the poker world and a longtime member of PokerStars Team Pro Online, a multi-time Global Poker Award winner with over 300,000 followers on Twitch. On today's show, we will get to know Lex a little better. Lex, welcome to the CardsChat podcast.
Hey, Robbie. Good to see you. Glad to be here, and excellent pronunciation. So,
Thank you. I've been working on my Dutch alsjeblieft. Right?
yeah.
There you go. That means thank you. All right. So that's what I've got. But we'll go. I don't know if we're going to go into the Dutch thing so much. I'm going to start out sort of saying the way, just letting the audience know the way I sort of crafted my questions. I'm very familiar with Lex and his career. He's been at this for quite a long time, but I don't know Lex that well beyond sort of what you sort of see statistic wise and what you've seen on, his video and, broadcast and TV performances. So we're going to try to cast the wide net and then, see where the conversation takes us. Lex, some newer poker fans, oddly enough, even though you've been around forever, may not be as familiar with you if they're not necessarily into the Twitch streets or stuff. How did you first sort of get into poker, and then we could kind of switch from that to poker content later on in your career?
Yeah, actually, I played a lot of video games when, as you do, and when I was young, I spent my whole childhood like playing Nintendo. Started going into competitive games with the rise of the internet. So started playing StarCraft, through which I met one of my best friends now, Victor Goossens. He's the CEO and founder of Team Liquid. It's a huge esports empire. We're actually roommates when he started the forum that led to the site. So, and at one point he told me, literally, he said, "I found a video game that you can make money with." So that was my introduction to poker. It wasn't a card game. It wasn't like, we used to play hearts when we were kids or something. It was literally, I found a video game you can make money with, and as sort of like a means to get through university or something. So I started playing it from there, and I was definitely very much soaked up with the online space, just grinding a lot online. But of course, we also started watching poker on TV, and then you had the EPT on Eurosport, and we started watching that. And from that point, I kind of started getting really interested in also doing stuff on the live scene as well.
For sure. It was the money that attracted you specifically beyond just being a cool video game?
Well, I think the money thing was probably sort of like an excuse to do it, if you know what I mean. Because he did say it's a video game, and it's there's a lot of strategy and it's awesome. And I started playing, and we started and it really felt. What I liked about StarCraft is 1v1, and you really had to try and sort of like estimate what your opponent was thinking. Are they likely to tilt as well? Are they very aggressive in their play? Are they more defensive? It's a strategy game, right? You both have to build like a little army and just play like a strategic war pretty much. So poker felt the same to me when you play hands or when you play heads up, and you have to get into the mind of your opponent. So quickly I saw a lot of similarities that really spoke to me. But I mean, it's really weird, and it's sort of like easy to say that, but especially during like the first 6-7 years of my career, I never thought about the money. I just saw it as like this immensely deep competitive game, and sort of like money was the means that you needed, almost as if it was like this online a coin or something, right? Like that you have in video games. So I always saw it as sort of like grinding the levels, and I definitely wanted to get to the highest stakes because of the competition there. So like obviously throughout the years you learn that money is important as well, and investment, future, all that stuff. But no, it's I think it was sort of like an excuse, but it's definitely the game that swept me up.
You still play other video games today though, right? Not just online poker.
Yeah, I still love playing. I love playing Dota very much. Also, a lot of strategy involved, coordination and quick thinking and stuff. I love playing Valorant, as a shooter game. So there's definitely lots of games. I mean, I would love to. Sometimes I reminisce and I think, oh, I would love to just play Zelda again on a Nintendo or something. But I spend so much time behind my computer; it's just easier to do it there. So most of it goes towards PC gaming. when I can find an hour. And it's nice too because there's lots of different things on Twitch. So a lot of people that watch poker on Twitch are also used to watching something like Dota and will have
Right.
like multiple interests, right? So I can kind of sometimes step on a side path and stream a little bit of Dota, for like a day once every month or something. So that's fun.
Right. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself as far as like the questioning, but sort of like follow up on that first thing, moving from playing poker into producing content. I imagine, I guess then that, because of that whole love for video games and that whole world, that streaming your play was very natural because that was already being done in the video game sphere.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. Especially early with content. What I really liked about video games is I have a lot of friends from online, and one of my best friends, like I said, got me into poker, right? And he's one of my best friends to date. So I always valued the community aspect very highly from what you could find yourself in online. And um, so I was just browsing different kind of fora, and I had different groups of people there talking to them, and it kind of became natural for me to sort of like report in those groups what I was doing. And because I was rising through the ranks quite quickly, it caught some attention because I was talking about playing 5, 10, 10, 20
Mhm.
long sessions, and sites were asking me to do strategy articles, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And I always wanted to be sponsored and travel the world or something, right? Like it felt like such a dream to be, like a stars ambassador and just go to these tournaments and do all this cool shit. It opens a lot of doors, and um, I don't know that. So it came natural to me, and I like doing it. I like the interaction. I like people following my stuff, asking questions, talking to people about poker. Um, and so the sort of natural progression to that was just also streaming. And I mean, I started streaming I think in 2015. Yeah, 2015 or 16. I started streaming, but my Twitch account is from 2009,
Right.
right? So I've watched video games all those years. So
Back
for
in it was
me,
Justin TV days, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Justin TV account. So for me personally, it was like combining. You know how people say like you make your passion your job, or your hobby is your job or whatever. I was able to combine two passions into one job, right? So
Mhm.
streaming poker for me just it feels like everything comes full circle. I'm back with esports, back with gaming, back in that space, where people talk a lot about games. So honestly, it couldn't be more perfect for me.
Was there ever a point where you kind of I mean, at some point now it's like, you take it for granted. This, in a sense, this is what I do. And, I do it very well. I'm at the top of my game and great poker player. Was there ever a point along your progression from just a guy who loves video games to what you are now, like an inflection of like, holy crap, this is kind of an amazing life that I'm able to lead and make a living doing this? Did that happen?
Yeah.
Because I don't imagine you necessarily grew up thinking you could do this for a living.
No, for sure. I mean, that's just like, especially what's really nice is that I've always sort of like stuck with my crew from when we're like 10. So I have a lot of the same friends from back in the day. So what's really nice about that too, like sometimes when you're inside the whirlwind and you're just going there and you live in Vegas for a year or something, and you're still steadily climbing some sort of progression, right? Like, oh, first you play online, you start traveling a little bit. I lived in Vegas, and then you play cash games there. Naturally, you
Mhm.
play 25-50 because you
Yeah.
grinded all the levels before that, and then you fly out a friend to stay with you for 3 weeks, and they're just like, "Holy shit, dude!" And it's like, yeah, so those are really good moments, and I think that always helped me stay really grounded as well. My friends from back in the day, um, and I don't know, I think that I had it a little bit less when I was younger because like you're hungry and you're like, well, I fucking worked for this, or I'm really good at the game now, or you have like this sort of bravado, confidence, trusting your ability. And I think once you get older and obviously you see more of the world and you start traveling, you see different places and situations that people are in, and you get humbled in certain aspects of life yourself. I think that you start appreciating things like freedom and the freedom to move around, and money that comes with it, and just being able that it's not so normal to just being able to sort of chase your passion, right? That a lot of people have a dream, but it's hard to get it going, or it's hard to kickstart it, or you can't, stop a secure situation or something, or you have too many responsibilities. So I think that's I think that when I just started doing it and I quit university, and which I definitely wouldn't do these days anymore. But back in the day, it was a little bit of a different situation, and I started doing all that, and that it felt amazing, and I felt free, and I was just like, I can just grind and I can do whatever I want and I can travel the world. And I think then I definitely grew sort of accustomed to that, and I think that I'm actually in one of the more appreciative periods now again, and since I started streaming. And I think that's also because I started talking to so many people every day through a stream that were just like, holy shit, you can live off this or something, or like, yeah, and it just you start seeing things through people's eyes that kind of talk to you about it for the first time, and that's very cool.
Right. And also, I mean, it provides an inspiration because sure, it's easy to just go ahead and see the results, but you have to look back. You said, you created that account back in 2019. You've been streaming since 2015, and it's not just checking in once a week. It's that consistency, and like you built it up into what it
Hmm.
is, and that that work ethic to have gotten where you got to from where you started. I think that's the inspiring story here.
Mm.
I first became aware who is Lex Veldhuis when I saw High Stakes Poker,
Oh yeah.
way back in the day. And I have to admit also, I said I'm a fanboy because I even rewatched a little bit. I know you did that great Run It Back with Remco, good friend Remco Rinkum on Poker Go a little while ago, sort of going through your time playing on High Stakes Poker. Um, that was pretty cool because at some point you're used to the cast of characters, the Doyles, the Eliel Ezras, the Negreanu's there, and then who's this Lex kid? That was like a
Mm.
very interesting thing. And where did he get all this money from that he could play high stakes poker? I've never heard of him before.
Yeah.
Obviously, you moved from that online sphere into the live sphere. Can you kind of sort of tell us or get back into that mind frame? What was it like all of a sudden front and center on a TV stage doing, the button clicking, but with real chips?
Oh, I mean, especially High Stakes Poker. Wow. I mean, that to me was such an insane milestone. I really had to sort of like rub my eyes to see if it was really happening. I mean, the first season of High Stakes Poker, I was playing 5 cent, 10 cent online, watching
Hmm.
it with my friends every Monday morning. Everybody would come over. We'd stay awake from playing Sundays, and we just watch it, and everybody was mesmerized and so enthralled by the characters and stuff. It was just incredible. So to me, that felt like one of the biggest, because I got there completely by myself, right? I literally started playing free rolls. I played penny tables. I played every single level of cash games that you can find online and grinded my way up through it. And I got to the point where you kind of feel like you reached the top of the summit, right? You play high stakes poker. Like that in a lot of ways, that's probably one of the best games you can play, and one of the highest stakes, and it's one of the most notorious games, right? So it hits all these levels, and I mean, it's amazing. I've always loved playing live as well. I feel like it adds an extra depth to the competitive element of poker and the psychology of it. And yeah, that was incredible. I always kind of felt very much like I wanted to conquer all different areas of poker. So I started with online cash games, then I started playing live tournaments and online tournaments, and then I played high stakes cash games live, and then I played PLO, and then all these different things. And I'll play tournaments again. So the high stakes sort of the live cash games were just a natural progression in that for sure.
So what is it, or what point do you reach mentally with each thing? Like, for example, you get on high stakes poker and you moved on from that to sort of do other things. What is it that is involved in that decision making process? Okay, I've conquered this mountain, let me find another one. Or it becomes a little less interesting to you. Like, how do you decide what the next thing you want to do? And the reason I'm asking, and I mean this in no offensive way whatsoever, but one of the things I always do, before interviewing someone, I look at the Hendon mob. I see no live results since 2018. Obviously, people
Mm,
pandemic and stuff, but your focus has been online. It's not because, oh, I'm just failing to cash 0 for 500 in live
yeah,
tournaments.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm wondering, like, what's the thought process there that moved you out of that live realm a little bit?
It's actually a combination of things. I had so I was doing really well around high stakes poker time. I was backing a few people that ended up doing really poorly.
Mm,
I went on like a $1.5 to $2 million downswing,
mm,
and I had some stuff happen in my personal life. So everything kind of converged together where I was
mm,
just like, okay, it's irresponsible to keep doing this, right?
mm.
It's irresponsible because like there's so many little things that matter when you play high stakes live cash games, right? Are you gonna get in the right game at the right time? You
Right.
need to travel for it. If you don't get in a game, what other game do you play? Or it's there's a lot more variables that need to go right, for you to be able to really build on that, and it just didn't feel secure. So I kind of felt like I wanted to gear back down and start playing online again, but I played so live so much and such high stakes. So I remember going online and I was logging in and was just like, okay, so now I'm gonna grind 5, 10, 10, 20 or whatever, and that's fine. And I was like, holy shit, these guys are really fucking good. And
Mm.
I I was just in a different habitat that whole time. It's kind of the same where, I mean, it's not the same that I don't mean to compare myself to him, but people sometimes ask me, would Tom Dwan be able to beat 5, 10, or 10, 20 online? No, but he doesn't need to because
Right.
he's playing 10K, 20K against the same group of people all fucking year. So it doesn't matter for him, right? And that's kind of like that's very much how I felt in that time. I was just playing really high six cash games 1 or 2 times a week. Played some big games in Vegas and whatever. Like, why the hell would I be studying some reg that plays 510 or strategy there? It's literally better for me to go for dinner with the people that I play poker with and get drunk, right? So I was in a huge disconnect from online. Also, so that was the definitely the big part. So I had a lot of work to do.
Right.
The second part of it was back then people really thought that playing GTO, this was like at the rise of like GTO and when like Sauce came out with all these videos and talks and people really thought that playing GTO meant not making mistakes. So
Mhm.
that kind of translated itself to a play style where people would just never bet because they thought if I bet, I open the door for somebody to exploit me. And so you would have these pots where in a cash game you would have top pair versus an over pair, and the pot was 15 big blinds on the river, and it was just like check check, bet call. And I
Right.
was just like, what is this shit? Like, are we serious? And it turned me off so much from Hold'em that I was just like, okay, so first of all, I have work to do. Second of all, if I do the work, I end up in this insanely boring spot. So then I just try to look around. I played a WSOP where I actually played a shitload of horse and Oma high low, and I played horse at Bellagio and all that stuff. And I kind of settled on Parliament Oma. So then I just played that for 3 years online. So
Mhm.
I just kind of went back home, played Parliament Omar for 3 years, and just kind of like did that for a while to change things up. And I felt like there's a lot of action obviously in PLO. It was a new game, so you can go through the learning curve again, which kind of hits like the video game sort of aspect of
Yep.
finding a new game.
Mhm.
So that's how that went. So it's like a lot of different things combined that just made it a natural decision.
It's the old saying, if you're the ninth best poker player in the world, if you're playing against the eight better ones, you're the fish, so to
Yeah,
speak. And you never,
yeah,
game selection is so critical. You have folks like Doug Polk who say he was the best, but he was the best at one very specific thing, the heads up sort of thing. So you knew what your niche was. Got to go back to your bread and butter. I got to respect that. For those who don't know, just to explain GTO, game theory optimal play. It's very in vogue these days. And Sauce is Ben Sulsky. For those who don't know, you can go ahead and research him.
yeah.
Tremendous player. I will say also, not about me, but that thing that you described about the whole Tom Dwan thing, that's actually what I always tell people. That's why I'm not playing the high rollers, because I can go ahead and focus on beating the people in my home game, which is
Mm.
much tougher than those high rollers. The high rollers, I can go ahead and wipe the floor with them. But I mean, I totally get what you're saying. Very much
Yeah.
resonates. Important to switch gears every so often. So we'll switch gears just a little bit, move back to the Twitch thing specifically. I've watched many Twitch streams. I can't say I tune in every single day regularly, but I've watched it. And one of the things that constantly impresses me about top streamers such as yourself is that capability of doing everything simultaneously. It's, watching what's going on in the chat, talking, engaging with your viewers, answering questions, interacting with them. And also, you can't just dunk off all your chips and mess up. You got to focus on playing poker. And we all know you've experienced tremendous success while on stream while doing that. What is sort of the secret to multitasking, but not just doing that, but so effectively?
Mm. I think one of my skills is switching gears quickly. So switching processes, switching gears, sort of keep something running in my head while something else is going on. I'm very alert also in real life. So
Mm.
like, if something happens on the other side of the room, I'll notice it or something. You know what I mean? Like if we're talking in a group of people and something happens at another table in a restaurant or something, I'll usually notice it. So I kind of feel like I'm very aware of all the things that are going on, and you just also have to make sacrifices. You know, if I want to become the best poker player I can be, I should quit streaming right now. So I
Mhm.
need to accept that I'm sacrificing a certain amount of value for the fact that I want to run a good stream. And I think that's also one of my strengths because I barely miss questions that people ask me in chat. Um, you know, I'll choose to ignore some or whatever, or my moderators will pick up some of the easier ones or something. But or if I just talked about something, I might ignore it. But I pick up on most stuff in chat, and I know that people really like that, the engagement, right? But that mean that I might miss a spot in some rando tournament. But the way I have my screen set up, I'll always prioritize obviously the higher buy-ins and the more important tournaments. But it's tough as well because you get judged on I get judged based on how good I'm at streaming, but
Right.
also how good I'm at poker, right? Like if people would just completely forget that I have a streaming career when I talk about like my poker results or whatever. And you know, I do fine. Like, you know, I'm happy with how poker's going and I'm putting a lot of effort into studying, coaching, all that stuff right now. Um, but it's like even my coach just like yeah, you should not be folding 10-5 offsuit here. And I'll be like, yeah, I was probably 14 tabling on a Sunday with 6,000 people in the chat. And he's like, yeah, but it's not my fucking job to judge you on that. Like, yeah, it's just a bad fold, you know? So
Right.
I have coaches, like shout out to BBC. I have coaches that keep me very, very honest in that sense. And I think it's just, it is just a skill you need to have because I do also think that like, you know, I feel like I'm my own audience. So if I'm
Okay.
watching a streamer play something, like let's say they're playing Dota and they're not saying anything, they're not highlighting any comments from chat, not between games or whatever, those are not the people I really gravitate towards watching. So I'll watch other people play, and yeah, that's kind of how I just want to do it. And I mean, yeah, you know, I love doing it. So you know, but it's fucking exhausting. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
After a session, I really feel sometimes I get so as soon as sort of like I turn my camera off and like I turn the light off and I turn my camera off and the poker's done, I turn my camera on black, I'll actually lock the door because I
Hmm.
feel so sort of like under the loop.
Overstimulated, I guess.
Yeah, overstimulated. I'll close the door and I'll turn the lights off and stuff. And I'm just like, I do a lot, you know, usually after a session, I immediately try to do some sort of like meditation or
Mm.
something to get rid of the tension. But like sometimes my mind is just completely worked, you know, and I'll just sit there for like 20 minutes. If I stop streaming, it takes me 1.5, 2 hours to be able to go to bed, you know. So
Wow.
and I love doing it, right? So it's not that's not a complaint, but it's just it's very, very, very intense. Also, because you're just on camera the whole time, right?
Yeah.
So it's just this nonstop sort of like attention on you. So
Yeah, don't pick your nose. Don't pick your nose. I get
yeah,
it,
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
For sure. I mean, I
But
know after finishing my own home game sessions, you know, again, just that drive home is helpful, but still, sometimes I'm just buzzing. You know, I'm not a
yeah,
professional player, but you know, like there's that energy. You got to just like you know tap the brakes, slow it down. Yeah, that's an incredible thing. You know, you said you used an interesting phrase. You said I'm judged by you know like the stream, and I'm judged as a poker player. I'm wondering though, you know, you're cooling down, you know, you have this post session, but you know, you're doing this all the time, the consistent stream. When you finish, like typically, you know, you ask a poker player, okay, you review your sessions, you review your hands. Do you just sort of say to yourself, was that a good stream or did I play well? What sort of direction is your brain thinking in as far as like improving for next time and judging yourself?
um, I spent a lot of time when I first started streaming on trying to sort of, I mean, perfect is a big word, but get it to a quality that I really stand behind, that I like.
Mhm.
So I was barely studying poker or something, but I would just massively put like hours into just streaming, community building, working on my graphics, layout, like make sure that all that stuff is really good,
Mhm.
to a point where I'm really happy with it. And then I started developing the poker front the last 2, 3 years massively. But the thing is, when I stream, I don't really try to put on a show. So I usually think about the poker a lot because what I that's why sometimes you'll see me like less energetic on stream. Sometimes you'll see me super fucking mad because poker is going really poorly, miss a few big spots. But I really feel like the best way to run a poker stream is to just do a normal online session and then turn a camera on. And that's what my stream is like, right? So that means that I'm also gravitating very much towards towards the poker playing and that sort of stuff. So that's usually what I think about after the stream. But I do kind of also think like, wow, that was amazing, and maybe I should have streamed. Maybe I should have highlighted this. Oh, I have this, these cool new graphics that I could have used then and there or something. I have like sometimes these moments that you forget to do or something where you can sort of like zone in a little bit deeper, and then I might think like, oh, maybe I shouldn't play like 14 tables on Sunday, but I should play 11 because that'll give me the brain space to actually do some of those segments that people really like. So I definitely review both, but in the end, I feel like I'm a professional poker player that turns on a camera. So I do think about the poker side of it a lot.
Interesting. And I guess, do you make adjustments moving forward based on, evaluating yourself in that way?
Yeah, and what I do, so I kind of figured out like what I figured out is I don't have time to study with all the streaming and everything that's going on, because it's also
Sure.
like you mentioned, right? Like when you're cooling down from a session, one thing that's really good is review hands or think about hands or talk to friends about hands. It's just streaming during a natural poker session. Let's say you're one tabling the final tournament of the night or something, and normally you're behind a computer and you're chilling, you have downtime in between hands and all that stuff. There's no downtime in streaming. So every single piece of downtime, there's conversation, or there are things that you mention, or there's question you reply to, right? So there's no downtime in your session in terms of being on. So what I try to do after the session is just completely not do anything poker related, because like my brain is just too fried to go over strategy. So I'll like listen to UFC podcasts or something, or I go walk outside a lot, like for half an hour after my streams, just listen to UFC shit mostly. Um, but then I kind of figured like I kind of started thinking about it. Okay, so I always used to think, what is the best thing I can work on for my stream? And I would have this question, I would be able to give answers for like 3-4 years. And then I was like, I mean, I could work on this, or I can work on emotes or something, but I truly feel that the best thing I can do for my stream now is really work on my poker game. So
Nice.
then I really started sort of like zoning in on that. But then I kind of realized like, okay, I don't have the time, because I already, I spend 50, 60 hours working every week. So where the fuck am I going to find the time to study? Right? That was a big
Yeah.
thing. Do I want to stop streaming on a certain day? And I was like, no, because that hurts my stream again. So what do I do most effectively? So what I do now is pretty much I pay somebody by the hour to watch streams along, and they hear me talk about spots and big spots, and they'll save that spot. They'll start calculating that afterwards and hear if my strategy is sound, and then they'll write me a report
I
about
love
it.
it.
Yeah, so that's super efficient for me, because normally when you study, you first have to like find the mistakes, then you have to calculate the mistakes, and this way it's super efficient for me. And I also work with BBZ, who's who has a poker training school. And what I do with him, every 3 months, I send him my complete database, all my hands, everything, and he always picks like the worst 3 topics of mine, spends a lot of time calculating
Sure.
everything, looks for all the examples, and then we fix them over like one-on-one hours of studying, which has just like improved my win rate an insane amount as well. So
Huge.
it's super efficient. I never have to like touch a solver myself to just think like, okay, let's calculate this, or where would my mistakes be? I just get it like, this is bad. This is what we need to work on. This is the solution. And that plays into my strengths as well, because I'm not like a researcher. I hate figuring out like programs, sitting down, playing around with stuff, but I'm really good at applying. So if
Hmm.
they tell me like, you're doing this wrong and this is what you're supposed to be doing, I'm really good at applying it like 20 different situations where they're like, whoa, your win rate jumped up amazingly, from you made a lot of progress based on those few sessions. But if you put me in front of a computer and be like, you have a week to study, I just sit there and I would have a lot of trouble getting going. So
For sure.
I, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I just found a system that really works for me. So it's kind of nice, because now I notice like I really love where my community's at, where my stream is at, like how everything's going. I did like a big graphics rehaul, everything, and now it's just like poker, 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 and that also, you just see that all those extra levels of the game, and it's so cool now, moving up in stakes and, playing 1Ks, 2Ks, 5Ks online very regularly. So now that whole poker sort of like passion is coming to the forefront again. So it's been a nice symbiosis in that way.
That's awesome. And I can't help, as you said, I pay someone by the hour, like you have a team and, the greats in every sport, I know, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. I still remember, like always like reviewing the tapes. Obviously, Michael Jordan did that. The best, the tennis players, the golf players, they have the best ones. They have the team around them that helps make them better. You imagine Kobe wasn't going and clipping, video editing him. He had someone do that for him. But that is, to borrow that poker term, the GTO way for you, for Lex. Given everything that you do to study. I think that's really insightful. I don't think necessarily a lot of people who even know how hard you grind don't necessarily know that. So thanks for dropping that nugget there. Really appreciate it. In 2020, you gotta tap, we like, lots of times, the bracelet wins, whatever. This was a massive, massive highlight for you. You broke the record for the most viewers ever watching a poker broadcast on Twitch, 58,799, if we got our Elias Stats Bureau correctly, simultaneous viewers. After everything you've said, after a regular session, when you're engaging and your mind's going bananas and overstimulated, multiply that by 1,000,000. I can't even imagine the type of high you get from an experience like that. And the thing is, human nature is once you have a high, you want to just chase after that high over and over again, but that's not real life. You got to sort of, as you said, you called it work. You got to show up for the next day of work, get back to the stream. How is that possible? How do you, go down from Everest and, when you know that the next Everest is, maybe a week away, a month away, another year away till you have a moment like that again? How do you stay motivated?
I guess in that sense, I'm just also trained by poker in that, right? Like in poker, you can win the Sunny Million the one week, and you can run a downswing the next week, and you just know, like, you just have to be ready for when the moments are there, and like that's something huge that that poker teaches you, that there is a possible negative outcome, and there is a possible bad side to an investment or an idea that you have. So, I just look at it like as the achievement that I'm super happy with, and that was very huge for me in a personal way as well, because like I said, I've been watching Twitch for so long, and at that moment I was #1 globally on Twitch, right? I was the biggest stream in the entire world running at that time. To me, that was like, it gives me goosebumps, like recalling that feeling, you know what I mean? I was just looking, I was just like, wow, this is amazing, but a lot of things, it's like lightning in a bottle. A lot of things have to go right for that to happen. If I like during Scoop last month, I had 25, 26,000 viewers at a point. I know that if I win 2 all-ins, I'm gonna go to 35,000, right? It might happen that time, but all you can do is just make use of the situation the best you can. I would. It's also weird because like sometimes you feel like viewers are building so much that if you would like fold a hand, your viewership goes up. But I think that's a very slippery slope. I think there will be a lot of regret if you do that. So I just always feel like the one thing that's under my control is the poker that I play. If I make that as good as possible, if people come, they come. If they don't, they don't. If I have a high amount of viewers, then that's great. If I don't, maybe some other time. But the #1 drive is to put good content out there and play good poker. And then one day I might do something really sick that only 8,000 people, or only between quotation marks, as compared to 60,000,
Right.
see. And then the next time it might be less hype, and all of a sudden you have 24,000 viewers. You don't know. Like online is so fickle, and like I said, it's a lightning in a bottle situation. Like everybody started tweeting about it. It's just like you're #1 on Twitch, so everybody just goes to like twitch.tv, sees this fucking guy at the top, and it's just like, oh, what's that? I never seen that before. They're used to watching other streamers or something, so they click it, so you get a lot of extra random viewers in there. So there's it's also it's it is such a, I mean, you combine the whole Twitch mechanic with a poker mechanic, so something has to go really right in the right time of year during a big tournament series, and then online has to react to it in a right way as well. Like there's so many things that are out of my control there, that I don't really feel the need to chase it either, right? Because I know what that situation, that playing field is like, and if it happens again, then fucking amazing. But the one thing I really look at is like, how is my overall viewership doing, right? not how is my viewership doing when I'm going in day 3 of the 10K main event, because that's sort of like easy to get a lot of viewers and everybody would. Um, but how is my stream doing on Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m.? Like that, what really tells me if there's a growth or decline or what people are doing in that sense. So that to me, if I would have, let's say, 7,000 viewers Wednesday 5 p.m. every time, and then a month later I have 4,000 viewers every time, that's something that worries me.
Right.
So
Right.
that's more of the sort of like red line that's concerning me.
I think that's instructive, not just to just the audience, getting to know you better, what's Lex all about and, your day-to-day grind, but also potential streamers out there. There's a lot of people who look to folks such as yourself and say, man, I wish I could do that. And even if they're not going to reach those levels, they want to obtain that sort of consistency. And that's a really cool, again, nice nugget of information and
Mm.
wisdom that you dropped there for everyone. So thanks for doing that and, kind of pulling the curtain back, what's important to you. What do you like most? What do you like least about streaming?
I like the interaction the most. I like sort of like, I feel like when you're streaming, let's say you're playing a tennis match and all your friends come watch. So you
Yeah.
feel that support, you feel that sort of like energy. There's a lot of people there. That's what it really feels like. It sort of feels like you're the people's champion at that moment. Like
I love it.
like most people are rooting for you. I know a lot of people are also anti-sweating you when they're watching, and it's absolutely fine. I get that. It's not like I'm a pretty polarizing. I'm outspoken about a lot of things, which means that you become a little bit polarizing. Um, but mostly people want to see you succeed, and you feel that sort of love and that support, and so in that sense, you feel like the people's champion trying to do things. You're an extension of the people watching. Um, what I hate most.
I said what
Oh,
you like least.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, debate is a strong word.
Yeah, that's true. That would definitely be being under a microscope
Mhm.
constantly. Like it's like people trying to sort of like govern your thoughts and feelings, right? It's like I could just be sitting there like this and I feel absolutely fine, and somebody's like, "Lex, you look tired. You should eat something so you get more energetic." Like, shut the fuck up, you
Yeah.
know? Leave me alone. Or like, why? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Or people will say that you eat wrong. Oh, why do you scrape why do you use your teeth when off a spoon? Yeah, because my food is blistering fucking hot and I put hot sauce on it. Like, leave me the fuck alone. It's You really get that sort of like step off kind of thing.
Mm,
And I know you call it upon yourself because I decide to turn on a camera, but some
sure.
people take it pretty far. Or like if I decide, if I'm super consistent and I stream a lot, I've been streaming a lot over the years with a lot of consistency, and then you take a day off, and then you get like 15 PMs or whatever on social media. Where the fuck are you? Like, do
Yeah.
you really think you can just take a day or something, or you'll take one day and you'll come back the next day and somebody will ask, "How was your vacation?" It's like, are you serious right now? What vacation are you talking about? So that's sort of constantly being under the loop. That's definitely in lots of ways exhausting. Which also it's kind of funny because when, let's say I take a week off, I start using social media more, or I'll post something on Instagram or something. But when I'm streaming a lot, week in, week out, I'm not posting that much.
Right.
I'm reading it, but it feels like I would use another platform to put myself out there. Like, oh, now I fucking stream 50 hours a week. Now here's also how I'm eating breakfast, and here's what I'm doing in my free time, and I'm walking through this forest with people commenting on it and stuff. It just becomes like, just
Mhm.
becomes a bit much. So um, I don't know. So I think that, but at the same time, I have to say, like streaming a lot of time when I'm feeling good and I'm in a good headspace. Sometimes streaming feels like you're streaming to one person because it's one camera.
Mm,
Like I won't notice the difference between 1,000 viewers and 3,000 viewers. It feels the same to me, you know.
right.
But yeah, I would say I like that the least. But it's definitely just comes. It's the price, right? I decide
Sure.
to do it myself, and I know that's what the game calls for. But that is definitely, I would say, the most draining part about it.
Could you give perhaps one tip? Because, whether it's streaming or on YouTube or via any other sort of platform, there's so many people out there who want to get into content creation. And, like you said, if they're grind and put in the work, they will end up being successful. But that double-edged sword of it is you are under the microscope. What's your tip to, again, because you've just been doing this for so long, to help develop a little bit of that thicker skin and be able to deal with that?
I think one really important thing is that is especially on Twitch, because on YouTube is more like, can be more like a highlight, right? You you plan content, you make it, you package it, and you put it out there. But especially if you're grinding on Twitch, just be yourself,
Mhm.
because it's really important that if you're yourself, if you're going to be online 8 hours a day, all day under a microscope, and you have to act, that first of all, people are smart enough to see it in most
Yeah.
cases. Second of all, it'll just be tiring because you have to put on this front. It'll be
Mm.
really hard for you to have off days and still turn on the camera, because it's just going to be too difficult to do it.
Right.
So I really feel that's important. And if people won't watch it, then they just won't watch it. Then
Right.
it's not for you, right? Or people won't watch it, and that's fine. Maybe you're not the flavor that people are looking for, and that's absolutely fine. You have other strengths or other things that you can do and achieve. But I think that a lot of people, you see it too. Like, I think a lot of people that try to put down a certain image of themselves and match that image, I think those are the streamers that need long breaks for certain
Mhm.
periods of time, because it's just too exhausting to stream, because it's like fucking being in a movie 8 hours a day. It's just really tiring.
Right.
um and I just think I also think that, like, in terms of like thicker skin, it's really hard. Like, sometimes you'll read questions online, you need to find a way to vent it. I am not a believer of the ignore the trolls movement, and I do think
Okay.
that a lot of people that say ignore the trolls don't stream. Um,
Mm.
because, like, I'll give you an example, right? Like, somebody will say, like, "Oh, Lex, but 9 out of 10 people are positive. 9 out of 10 people are positive today. Why do you react to the bad comments?" Well, first of all, I have 50,000 unique chatters in my stream every day. That means that 5,000 of those are toxic. So that's 5,000
That's a
fucking
lot.
people, right?
Yeah.
So if I get 5,000 negative comments or whatever in a day, and I reply, and like one or two will make me blow up, that doesn't mean that I'm feeding trolls or whatever. Like, sometimes you just need to sort of like push back, right? I give the example, like, let's say you just like, you wake up, amazing day, you have sex with your partner, you go out for lunch with your best friend, and everything's going absolutely fine, and you go to a store because you want to return a clothing item. Let's say you want to return like this new shirt that you got, and you take it back, everything's going right, and the person in the store is a massive asshole to you, and they're like, "We're not refunding you the money. Why did you buy that shirt anyway if you're not going to return it?" It messes with you a little bit, right? And you have this
Yeah.
whole discussion. The manager comes in, they tell you to fuck off, and you're like, "Whoa!" And you exit the store, you have your shirt, and somebody outside will tell you, "Nice shirt, asshole." Are you really telling me that the ignore the troll movement would just walk past that and be like, "I'm having a fantastic day. This cannot bother me"? No, you're gonna say, "Shut the fuck up" or something. You have a reaction, and that's what streaming is like. You get like you get pinned to a point where you're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like a troll will say something that a lot of people might have some sort of like dormant opinion about. Let's say you go all in with a marginal hand, but you really need to go all in there. Button
Right.
opens, you shove 32 big blinds with pocket fives and small blinds. Only way to play the hand. That's how you play the hand. But to a lot of beginners out there, that seems like gambling or way too aggressive, because you get
Right.
called by eights, and well, there you have it. So if somebody goes like, "Nice punt, idiot," with fives in a 1K, if I if I sort of like clap back and torch that person for their opinion, I know that there's 300 nice people that didn't say anything that will
Mhm.
still think it's too light, but they need to know it's not, or something, right? Just to give you an example. So,
Right.
and honestly, that's the only way it works for me to go through streaming like that. And some days I'll just ignore everything, and some days you need to do it. But you you need to, I think you need to decide based on interaction, because like, if you let people come really close in a positive way, right? I know people's first names. I know what they're doing. I ask them questions. If somebody's doing bad, I might send them a message after the stream. I host a live community event with Lex Live. I let people come really close. If they say stuff, if they say positive stuff, if they want to engage, if they have a critical question, I let people come really close to me. I already decided that that's what I'm going to do. So if they have
Yeah.
something negative to say, it's already really close to me, right? If
Mhm.
I would talk less to chat, remember less nicknames, take more distance, I choose to take distance beforehand. Then also the negative stuff would get to me less. So I think
Mhm.
it's really important beforehand. You want to decide, what's my general strategy and how close I let people come to me. Am I going to read all the, am I want to do I want to be a YouTuber that engages with people in the comments and pins stuff and sends a community post and then likes something and replies to a lot of comments in chat, well, that means that the negative comments are going to get to you because you let people come close. And if you think like, this is not for me, I can't handle the booze, then you need to step away from that and do less engaging in the comments. So I don't think it's necessarily a strategy towards like, how do I deal with negative feedback and get thick skin, but do I have thick skin and can I let people come close?
That answer is just so awesome. I feel like I want to stand up and give you like a standing ovation, because I've like quite genuinely, in full admission, folks, I've watched a little bit of Lex's stream before, but I'm not, watching it every single time. So I got a whole bunch of stuff to do as well. But my God, man, I have just fallen in love with your authenticity. You're so, yourself so well and are unafraid to go ahead and say what it is that you want to say. That is a phenomenal quality. And I can very much see what it is that attracts your audience to your stream. Wow, man, freaking bravo. Love it.
Wow,
that's phenomenal.
A big compliment. Thanks.
It's the real deal. Like, it was just like, again, like you can't help but fall in love with someone who's speaking their truth. It's a beautiful thing. You mentioned, we talked obviously about the consistency being, pretty much one of, if not the most important factor, and, just showing up every single day. There was one very recent period of time where you did take a little bit of an extended break for very good reason. You became a papa. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Obviously, even the most hardcore fans, wouldn't say, "Oh, where are you today?" You got to take some time to be a papa. So, first of all, that was your first break in a very, very long time, and an extended break. So, A, what was it like to sort of just take that break? And B, how has that, it's not just, Lex +1 anymore, it's Lex +2, and very little 2 where your attention, definitely needs to be. So how has that sort of changed your day-to-day, if at all?
I definitely, I mean, it's just, it's sort of like the most amazing deep dive on an emotional level. It's just, I want to be very, very present. I think there's a big trap when you can plan your own time, and poker and then also streaming, there's a very literal, the more time you put into it, the more success you'll have.
Yeah.
But I think that finding the balance for me, I've had to learn in poker and also in streaming the hard way. And I just know that there's a certain balance that I need to have, and I really want to be present. So when Navi was born, I took 5 weeks off and just was there, all the time. And like the same that I won't work evenings, and my stream on Thursday I play cash games, because then I have a clear ending point, because then I can drive home and I can be with him an hour before he goes to bed. So it's it's something that is just not, I'm just not gonna cross. And he's amazing. He's just, we really wanted like a naughty kid, like an adventurous kid, and we oh my God, we got one. Like, he's insane. Like, he's already like testing all the boundaries and pushing our buttons, and then he'll just like give us a smirk. It's been the most joyful thing. So really nice. He's 16 months.
16 months.
Yeah, and we have a baby girl on the way as well now.
Hey, congratulations. I didn't know that. Wonderful.
Yeah. So my wife's 26 weeks along now. And that's, we're just gonna have to see what the situation is. Like, I'm gonna continue streaming. I know that for sure, right? I'm gonna continue to play poker. I've been able to deal with like really big sort of like life changes and finding a rhythm and a schedule. So I'm just gonna figure it out. I want to work. I want to have. I'm very driven in my career. I mean, I just sleep a lot less nowadays.
I know. I know that feeling quite well.
I mean, I just can't believe that I would complain about only getting 7 hours of sleep before. It's the most insane thing. If I sleep 7 hours now, I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
Changes the perspective. I got 3 kids. I got 3 kids of my own, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Wow, 3. Okay, holy shit. Yeah.
My oldest is 14 and a half, so it's bringing back memories, and my youngest is turning 10. So thankfully, the sleep isn't an issue, but I remember that period of time quite well. I know what you mean.
Respect.
Thanks. Thanks, man.
But like in a way, I'm also looking at it like, our first Navi took us 3 years to be able to have him, and we went through a lot, and hormonal therapies and stress, and sadness, like all that stuff we went through, like didn't know if it was possible. And then we had him, which is amazing. And the second one was like sort of almost like a surprise. Like
Hmm.
we knew we wanted a second kid, but like, you know, you go from sort of knowing having kids is a natural thing to like, holy shit, this is not actually as standard that you can just have a kid whenever
Right.
you want. You know, there's a lot of things, and there's a lot of sort of like hurdles and things that can go wrong. And now we have the now we're expecting the girl, and it's just like it just feels so amazing. So we feel super grateful um that we actually were able to have a second one. And
Hmm.
I also kind of really, I did, the way I look at it now is like, you know, when the second one is there, like we really would have loved to have two. Now we most likely will have two healthy babies. That's it for us on the kids front. And then it's just like whatever schedule I build around that, that's just going to be my schedule, you know. And I won't be able to stream as much as somebody who's 23 and doesn't have a partner. I can just like go full fucking steam ahead, which is what I did when I was 23, you know.
Right.
But I'm 38 and I'm gonna find a place for it, and I'm gonna find a working thing. But I know one thing: I'll be streaming in 5 years. You know,
Yep.
so
Yep.
I'm just like 4 years ago now. I think I collapsed during TwitchCon. I had heart issues
Hmm.
based off of stress and just working too much, and I was just like literally just like fucking fell down in the street. Had to fly home. Doctor was like, you know, you have yourself checked out, and you're kind of expecting the doctor like all the work looks good,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
no, they were like, yes, you have heart issues.
Wow.
So
Okay. Yeah.
so that really gave me like also a big sense of like I need to be more balanced. And you
Hmm.
know, it's not about what can I do best for my work next week, and that's work, right? What's the best thing I can do for my work this week? Work 7 days, right? What's the best thing I can do for my work this month? Work every single day. What's the best thing I can do for my work in 3 years? Take next week off, right? Otherwise, I won't be around. I won't have the
Right.
continuity. I won't have the energy. I won't have the consistency. My life will be out of balance. My wife will be fucking mad for good reason. She'll leave me if I keep doing that, you know? So it really woke me up in the hard way. And I had to learn that with poker too, where friends were just like, when I was 24, my friends were like, yo, pick up your fucking phone, man. You know?
Hmm.
I was like, and to a point where one of the guys like, you need to show that you want to invest in this friendship because otherwise it's a one-way street. And that really had that wake up there. And I feel like sort of like collapsing, it was the best thing that could have happened to me because now I have a really good life work balance, and it gave me sort of like a natural progression into knowing that I really want to fight for that time with my kids as well. So I feel like I'm in a really good spot, and you know, like we'll see what gets from here, and I'll figure out a schedule and make it work.
That is beautiful. And first and foremost, I hope the rest of the pregnancy goes smoothly and everything
Thank
is
you.
just, wonderful and easy. So many parallels, it's like I almost hate to do that, from a very real personal world example, but there's so many parallels in what you said to the game of poker. How many
Mm,
times you have someone who, they go ahead and they bink their first tournament. They think it's so easy, but, like you said, it's sometimes, you don't realize just how tough it is,
yeah,
like there's that. And then there's the, like everyone talks about balancing ranges. Well, there's work-life balance. There's a lot of parallels between what you said and poker as well. And, it's cool to sort of see someone again, like who started so long ago at 15 years ago, all that sort of stuff. And that whole progression that you made, people who have followed your entire career. Lex is growing up, all that stuff. It's a very
mm,
cool thing to sort of see that, maturation as well as like, yeah, you were that 24-year-old grinder who didn't pick, up a phone at one time, and that was right for you at that time. And then you realize, you got to change, it up, you got to, change gears, all that sort of thing. Very, very cool. I want to move very briefly. I want to make sure we just maximize the time and get some community questions in as well.
yeah,
Can't not mention PokerStars. You're, I think, by far the longest tenured member of PokerStars team online. You've been with the company since way back in 2009. That's a
yeah.
long time, folks. You think, yes, that's like 13 years. That is an eternity. And then
It's
you switch
30%
to,
of my life.
right?
That's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
And you switched from Team Pro to Team Online in 2013. You had said, you alluded to briefly earlier of like, that's the dream, be sponsored. What does it mean to you to not just, be a sponsored pro, but to have, like, well, we use that Kobe Bryant thing as well. Like you've stayed with the same team your
Mhm.
entire sponsored career. That's a huge deal. What does that mean to you?
I just generally think that I I think I think loyalty is very important. I like really long working relationships. I mean, obviously, like if two people have to keep putting energy into it, the both parties. But I mean, it's like back in the day when I was on Team Pro, it was like the only place to be for me because I just always grinded on stars. I had I was hacked once, and I lost, and I was playing all sides, right? I would play all sides everywhere, and I was hacked once, and stars was the only one that secured my money, where they were like, "We know you're traveling. There's something going on with your account. Don't worry." And that gave me so much confidence that I just started playing on that side. Um, Also, they were just doing the coolest shit, so I always kind of wanted to be there. And then they, they did a lot of cool stuff. There was a lot of friends on the team, and then when I got signed, I made a lot of new friends on the team, and I started working with people for a very long time. Obviously, but what I really like about it as well, like obviously there's been trials and tribulations in the past, and you go through like good times, bad times. But what I really like with the spot where I got to now is that I actually get to work along on projects that actually do a lot, right, for poker, that like big changes, or thinking about tournaments, or introducing the new rakeback system, that sort of stuff. Like I've had a really big part in that, with a lot of people, but I'm very involved in that, right? So you start more thinking about the landscape of poker and the things that need progression there, or cool new things. And it really matches well with the fact that I'm streaming, because I have such an ear to the ground now for what people actually want and what people think and what lives among the people. Like if you, and this is not to like shit on anybody that does that or whatever, but let's say if I was grinding live tournaments and I was traveling the roads, how do I know what like Joe Rando that plays the $1 bounty builder every Sunday, what he likes? But they come into my Twitch chat and they tell me, or they give
Right.
positive feedback, negative feedback. So I really feel like I'm sort of like a connection, a portal between PokerStars as a platform and the people. So that's really nice. And I mean, especially with the Twitch, like PokerStars has always been sort of like the farthest ahead
Yeah.
on Twitch. They know the most. If I mention if we have a meeting, like I was on Isle of Man, the PokerStars, one of the PokerStars headquarters last March. If I'm in a meeting there and I say something about a really big Twitch streamer that has nothing to do with poker, everybody's like, or everybody knows instantly who it is. Or did you see that? Everybody gets a reference. I'm like, do you know this fucking scene that Dr. Disrespect has and whatever? And and everybody's like, yes, I've seen that thing. So, they have
That's
like,
cool.
so for me, it feels like, how like you have this idea that you have this like sort of, if you think about like working at Google or something on a new product, or at Apple or something, and it's very innovative, creative. That's what I feel like that PokerStars, the Twitch team, is like now, right? Everybody knows, every department knows Twitch. Every department wants to know how it interacts with Twitch. So for me, it's just like the most natural place to be, right? And on top of that, it's a long-lasting relationship. I've worked with the same people for a very long time, and I really love working with them. So it's just a really good spot to be in. And obviously there's also nice things, like I said, you have influence, but it also offers stability. It's like a whole, I don't know, it's just a thing, it's a puzzle piece that fits perfectly there.
It's very cool because, like, for so many people for the longest time, that brass ring that everyone wanted to achieve, that goal was that sponsorship. But within that, there are clearly levels. Just like just to give people who've been around for a little while of poker history, 2009 means you've been with them through Black Friday, through changing, the company changing from private to public ownership. You were there when the company changed ownership again another couple of times. That is again, an absolute eternity. And, again, you didn't just have that sponsorship, but your role within them has sort of grown, where you have, the way you described it, you've got that influence. That's very, very cool to sort of hear those higher levels and echelons of achievement that can be had with longevity, withstanding the test of time. Says a lot about you, Lex. That's very cool. I want to touch upon Lex Live that you talked about. How it came about. Like, I want to get in that story. I'm just a little nervous about not having enough time, though. I
That's
just kind
fine.
of
I'm good. So
You're good? Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, I got to ask, obviously it kind of makes sense. These days everyone's doing like these meetup games, very in vogue, very popular. And when you have that Twitch community that you're engaging with, great. What was sort of the brainstorming like? How did that first Lex Live come about and come to fruition?
it just felt like sort of like a natural thing, right? Because I come from online communities, and then there would be like a live tournament. I mean, back in the day, I played StarCraft, and then we would go to the national finals, and I would see all the people that all the names behind the nicknames, and you feel like this bond to people because you hang out every day and you talk. So, to me, it's always been a natural thing for, if you form an online community, for that to be the next step where you meet each other in real life and you connect there. So, um, I and it's also something people ask for. And at first, we're just gonna like rent. I would just rent out the bar and we drink a beer. But then me and my wife decided to, before we wanted to settle down between quotation marks, we decided to travel. And I streamed from Costa Rica, from Canada, from we went all over the place there. So that's also when my stream just grew and grew. And then when I came back home and we started considering doing something like Lex Live, all of a sudden the amount of people asking for it was so big that we just thought, okay, we just need to make this some sort of poker festival, right? So it became almost like a convention,
Mhm.
a poker online community convention in a way. So
Right.
we did the first one in Belgium, the second one in London. I'm trying to see where we're doing the third one. I'm not entirely sure yet because there's also still like COVID rearing up in different places, and it's a bit more sensitive than a regular poker tournament, right? Because people that come to Lex Live, some of them don't even really play poker themselves. They treat it as their vacation, right? They save
Yeah.
up for it. You have to ask time from work. If a bunch of professional poker players book a trip to an EPT and the EPT gets canceled, the cost of the trip is actually the smallest part of the whole trip for them, right? If you look at the buy-ins and everything that they're doing. So it's like easier to maneuver. They're more savvy with traveling. They'll have cancellation
Sure.
policies, all that stuff. But if I host a tournament and it gets canceled, some people just lose their vacation money for the whole year and they're fucked.
Right.
So it's something very sensitive that I'm aware of. And so I just kind of like really waiting out COVID. We had to cancel the third edition, but 100% going to be back.
Awesome.
And it's something that I would just want to do once or twice a year at the very least. And it's just nice for me because it's like during my stream, people really get to connect to me and they see me and they hear me. And I get to connect to people as well, but through the things they say or their nickname. And it's just really nice to just get FaceTime with them, And a lot of the conversation at Lex Live is just me asking, like, what do you do? What do you do? Is your family here? What is life at home like? Like what do you guys want to do tonight? Or, so it's just sort of like deepening that bond that a community has. And I just honestly at Lex Live, I mean, I feel like I'm just another one of the people of the community there, sort of,
Nice.
just sitting there, hanging out at the bar all day. We just go see a movie together, that sort of thing. So it's just nice to meet people that have like-minded interests and ideas and yeah, just
Very cool.
yeah,
I imagine it must have, again, you've done it twice. Then when you get back in front of the camera on the stream and then you see the name of that person you met, that
yeah,
must, bring a little bit of an extra smile to your face. I can see it right now. It's pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. True. Yeah, there's
very
some people
nice.
like one guy will just be super energetic and just ready to go, ready wants to like have action on anything and just like make side bets about bar games and whatever. And then this person comes in and then they're excited for a football game, and then you're like, yes, of course you are, you fucking maniac. Just so it's nice, and
Nice.
people do a lot of nice things in the channel for each other as well. So it feels very gratifying. It feels sort of like, in a lot of ways also mentoring role for people to get to know poker in a very positive way. I mean, there's been people also where I see them in a live environment and they're asking me questions about poker, and then I just send them a private message like, bro, I'm sorry, but I don't think poker's for you, right? I've seen you in
Mm.
real life. I've seen you sort of like talk about it. I've seen the things that you like to do, the things that you like to be sort of like tingled by in action aspects. I just don't think it's a good idea for you, or something like, holy shit, okay, thank you. Or somebody else who has potential is like, hey, you know, you should join this Discord group. You should talk to this person, get this person. Like, he offers very cheap coaching. Get a few hours. I really think you can get this train on the track. Or people are just dealing with other stuff or something. I don't know. I think it's a cool thing, community, and it's like I said earlier, it's one of the reasons why I like streaming so much, because everybody gets together. So yeah,
That is absolutely gigantic. I just like, it's happened to me before because, it's one thing like when you hear, let's say, from a family member or when you hear from a close friend, but when you hear from, like in this particular case, Lex, who like, wow, I'm looking up to him, I'm watching the stream. He really thinks, whether I, should go for poker, shouldn't go for poker. That carries a gigantic
hmm
amount of weight. And the fact that you take time to go ahead and do that your community matters to you that much, that is just absolutely huge. And surely the things that you've done, I don't even know what it was, but even just from those couple examples, you have made a huge difference in people's lives and helped guide them, probably in the right way. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. I mean, I think it's also like, it's just, there's so much, like, there's so many people that are doing the best they can in that community as well, right? Like,
Mhm.
I got it like a couple weeks ago. I get a message from somebody that's subscribing again, and they said like, "Hey, I just want to thank you. I just got married last week," and I was like, "Okay, so yeah, why thanks? Like,
Yeah.
congratulations or whatever." He's like, "Well, I'm a 24-month sub now. When I subscribed to you, I was in the hospital for a failed suicide attempt, and I tried again in the hospital, but I watch your stream every day, and I came in, and people would greet me and ask me like, "Hey, there you are again. How's your day going?" or something. He's like, "That's the first time in my life I felt seen," and that made me feel like I was watching all these people, and I reached out to some people that said something about that were more open about their suicidal thoughts or their depression or whatever. And he's like, and there was a topic on your stream, and I started talking to people, and he's like, "I'm married and we have a kid on the way, and I just bought a house now." And it's like, holy fucking shit, it's so crazy, the positive, and it's also really good to think about the negative that you can do online, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's way more than words. So when you read something like that, it's just like that just gives you fuel for another month. You know what I mean? And
Damn,
it's
man.
like, it's
Wow.
just like, so if you shape a community, but the community sort of like I shaped it at the beginning, but now it's just is this sort of hemisphere that it is, and everybody keeps it intact, and I'm just like a little piece of it, right? And you just keep it intact, and people like one of it, like Ferris, who's like a very valued community member. His mom passed away, and I just know that there's like dozens of people that have sent him messages like, "Hey, if you
Mhm.
need an ear, if you need something, can we do something?" Like people that live in his country, like, "Can I help you out with something?" That sort of thing. It's like it's really nice. It sounds super wholesome and stuff, but I think it's really good to have a place like that. And then you can also shoot the shit and tell each other, to, to fuck off or something. It's really good to have that, so it feels like a natural friendship dynamic. So
I love
yeah.
it. Oh, that story, guys, just stop here, play those last 3 minutes again. That blew me away. That was unbelievable. Wow. One last question from me before we move into the community questions. Lex Live notwithstanding, hopefully, in the right place at the right time. PokerStars, of course, is back, in full force with their live events. We've got, big PSPC planned for next year, end of January. EPT Barcelona's coming up next month. Can we expect perhaps a Lex appearance at one of those, or maybe something smaller somewhere else?
Yeah, I definitely think. I mean, I've definitely have the itch to go play a live tournament. Also, because I got a lot better over the last couple of years. So I kind of feel like I used to be a cash game player that also played tournaments, and I kind of feel like now I'm really a tournament player. So I really want to see what I can do live, sort of way, or I at least want to experience being sort of a mature, patient individual when I play a live tournament. That
Mhm.
will be a new sensation for me. But with my wife being pregnant now,
Sure.
the due date is October 15th. So up until that time, I'm not doing much. Then later on in the year, there's going to be EPT Prague, which is always huge. I
Yeah.
think if everything goes well with the baby and the recovery and all that stuff, and everything lands in a good place, I might pop over to play the main event there.
Nice.
100,000% playing the PSPC. That is definitely one of the most special live experiences that I've experienced in my life. Just that gave me sort of like that old school poker. We all come from way different walks in life.
Mhm.
And you meet a guy that plays his first big tournament that's a doctor, and you meet somebody, she works in sales, and now is at a poker tournament because of the platinum pass. So I'm super excited for
Yeah.
that one. And then I think that next year I'll definitely um, pop over for some EPTs, because it's like a 1 or 2 hour flight max, and I
Mhm.
can just enjoy some of those main events. So yeah,
Awesome.
100%.
Well, a lot to look forward to. It'll be very, very cool. And whenever those trips do come, I hope you enjoy, have a wonderful ride, and
Yeah,
lots of
thanks.
deep runs. Folks, in this segment of the show, we now turn to you guys, our Cards Chat community, to see what questions you wanted to ask our guests. And of course, we have a dedicated thread on the Cards Chat forums for this. So as we announce who our future guests will be, please be sure to send in your questions. We've got 4 question askers today. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can in the time that we've got. Here's one from Crystals. Thank you very much, Crystals, for sending this one in. Just sort of a generic view. Obviously, online poker has, regulation is a topic that comes up very often, and more and more countries, regions, they clamp down. They have these rules, lawmakers, all that stuff. Just sort of wondering, Crystals wants to know, Lex, do you view regulation overall as a good thing or a bad thing for poker?
I think regulation is a good thing. I think there's definitely like sort of like as a player you might go through inconvenient moments, right? It seems like there's either more rules or there's a different structure to it. But I think that generally it's really good that sites get held to a certain standard. And that's what happens, right? They need to get a license from a government, and there are going to be rules in place. And if you don't meet those rules, then you don't get licensed. So if somebody's not licensed, immediately to stay away from it because they couldn't match the sort of quality requirements. So I think that's really good. I mean, the one thing that's sometimes a bit sad is if governments are really uneducated
Hmm.
about the topic. But that's why I think it's really important for PokerStars and providers to just work along with governments and educating them what everything means, what everything entails, and all that stuff. But I think in a lot of ways they get it right. And yeah, I mean, eventually, I think that every market should be a licensed, legalized system, because that needs to happen. And until it doesn't, then you have all these pitfalls and insecurities. And there needs to be responsible gaming, right? That's
Sure.
very important. There needs to be a good support system. The money needs to be safe. All that stuff there needs to be security checks. All that stuff just needs to be there, instead of like some Joe Rando site that can do anything. Like, if you have a feeling that you need to sort of like cash out after all your sessions because you don't know what's going to happen to the site, like that's just not how you want to
Right.
play online, right? So
Exactly.
I'm definitely in favor of legislation everywhere. I just hope that it happens in a smart, practical way. But I do think that everything globally moves towards that spot. Sometimes you see a government that kind of like changes along the way because now they do learn. So it's a
Sure.
process, but it's a good process, and it's one that needs to be done at a certain point anyway. So we might as well do it now.
Right. Just like the game of poker, everyone sort of got better, like we're seeing
Yeah,
slowly, very slowly at the pace of government, but the dominoes are falling. More and more jurisdictions are becoming legalized, regulated. So, the news is good. We just gotta, hang in there. You can't win the tournament in level one. We'll get there.
yeah.
Good answer. One more from Crystals wants to know, Lex, which streamer have you looked up to the most? So many people answer Lex, Lex, Lex. So who does Lex look up to as far as Twitch streaming?
I mean, would that be specific poker streamer, or should I just answer both?
You can answer however you'd like.
I really liked Lyric. He's a big variety streamer. He's a bit edgy. He's able to get 20 to 25,000 viewers without streaming with a cam. So he has a really strong personality
Hmm.
that I really like. And he streams variety. So he's done so many different things, and people just invest in him and the way he is. And he's always no nonsense. He's always the same. He doesn't really alter himself for it. And I really think that's amazing. Also, he's just a sick gamer that's good at every game. So it was always fun to watch something different. I love Dr. Disrespect, who's this abrasive character that just has the most insane innovation on Twitch. The segments that he does, everything is on point. I just really love watching anything he does, and so he's a very popular streamer. That is just, yeah, I just like his whole shtick. It's just incredible to watch. I think in terms of poker streamers, the biggest influence on me, I think, was Tonka. And it's, obviously there's big streamers, yeah, Jason Somerville and Jamie Staples and those guys, were there early as well. But I think the style that I can most identify with was Tonka. He was a little rough around the edges, a little more like swingy in his attitude or mood. So that's always kind of the way I saw my stream, because like that's kind of my ideology behind streaming, right? Like sometimes I have a good day, sometimes a bad day. If I'm fucking hungover, don't expect any smiles, So that's
Yeah.
kind of what how I felt that. And he got through the ranks really quickly,
Yeah.
and I didn't start streaming long after that. So I always thought it was kind of sort of inspiring to see that there was a sort of place for that, because before that everything was a little bit more safe on Twitch poker. It was a little bit
Mhm.
more happy, a little bit more safe, and I felt like that was a great counterpoint to that, and just gave me a lot of motivation to really go for it myself too.
Nice. And for those who don't know Tonka, Parker Talbot, wonderful guy.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have him on the show sometime as well. Lovart is our next question asker. Just got one for you, a little bit more in the specific poker streets here. Wants to know, Lex, in your opinion, what is the most important stage in terms of a stack size that of a tournament that a player needs to master? Otherwise, they'll never be successful at MTTs. The early stage, the mid stage, the late stage, the bubble. What's your opinion there?
I think that it's really important to learn 10 to 30 big blind poker, because I think that usually towards the end of a tournament, that's where most of your decisions are going to be. It's also like if you make mistakes there, which is going to be near the end, those are the biggest mistakes. Like for instance, later on in the tournament, you're almost never going to be 100 big blinds deep in a spot. So studying a really, like, let's say you have a really interesting hand on the river in a 100 big blind deep spot, that's usually going to be at the start of a tournament. So the eventual pot is going to be like 40% of a starting stack, whereas you might be in a 30 big blind only or 20 big blind spot later on in the tournament, but that's going to be for like 25 starting stacks, right? So if you look at the impact of a hand late in a tournament, is so much bigger than early. And it's easier to learn as well because there's less variables, right? It's much easier to study 30 big blind poker than it is because there's like less difference in bet sizing and all that stuff. It happens more often, so I would definitely study that the most. And then of course, yeah, ICM is very important, but pure bubble is very complicated. I would just start with like, yeah, 10 to 30 big blind poker. But what a lot of people skip is also just fucking opening ranges. Like, like honestly, if I would, love art, if I would ask you like what hands do you open under the gun, 20 big blinds deep, can you really give me a specific range or a close one? People kind of know, but like all that stuff is out there on the internet. If you Google that, there will be sites promoting it. Like there's charts everywhere. You can look at it, right? You can learn it, and it's really important to just know. And a lot of people get close enough, and I don't think that people like to be honest to themselves in what they don't know. And people a lot of time think like, well, I'm already like sort of like semi-pro, I'm intermediate poker player. So yeah, what do I do on the river? But it's not like I still fucking look at opening ranges. Like I got chewed out by my coach. He's like, okay, so button opened, you're folding all your 7x suited hands. Why aren't you calling Queen 7, Jack 7, 10 7? And it's like, because I thought they were folds. Well, they're not. So this happened 2 weeks ago, so there's so many different situations, especially in tournament poker with all the different stack sizes.
Sure.
Just invest time in that because everything that comes after that is a compound mistake, right? You need to start at the start. What hands do I open? And then you're like, okay, so how do those hands play against re-raises? And how do those hands play on flops? And then slowly you get towards river decisions. But once you study yourself towards river decisions, you'll get to really clear ranges that are well structured, so you can make really good decisions that you actually learn something from it. So just start at the start. ICM is definitely important. So it's definitely a subject that's going to garner you a lot of money, but first start with what gets you deep in a tournament, and that's the basics.
Excellent. Yeah, detailed answer. Do we have time for two more or three more?
Yeah, let's do them all. Yeah, that's fine.
All of them. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, all of them. I got tons more, but we'll do three
Oh,
more.
okay. Well, let's do three.
Let's do three. Our question askers are very prolific on this episode. So Chica Bonita, thank you very much for sending this one in. Look, obviously one of the biggest names in poker, Daniel Negreanu, wants to know, Chica Bonita, is it true that you taught him online poker?
No, for sure not. No. I think that one of the cool things about Negreanu, I think, which also sets him apart from other really big names from that age, is that his ability to sort of catch up and study, like be honest to himself and be like, okay, I need to do work and do the fucking work and seek out people. And during the time of the big game is when Negreanu obviously had all his tournament success and he had played cash games back in the day, and he started playing some cash games and we played on Stars, and where he would just I would run into him and I was already friends with him, and I'd play a session with him and I'd see a hand and I was like, normally like unsolicited advice can be very annoying,
Right.
but I knew that he was very interested in sort of like looking at the game in new eyes. And I just started saying like, bro, you can't call there, because like you're torching money or whatever because XYZ. And then he'd be like, oh, really? That's interesting. And we'd start talking about it, and we start talking about like all these spots, all these hands. So it was more like we're doing these creative sessions right before
Okay.
the big game where we're talking through all the strategy, and I was kind of like telling him about the meta game and everything. But now he deserves all the credit for a lot of the stuff he sought out, and he really cracked down on numbers and stuff. And I do think I was at some influence, but like not to where you can say like I taught him online poker. No, no, not at all.
Okay, well, thank you for clarifying that, Ledge. It's also cool to sort of hear that little story. Again, you never know unless one of the participants
Yeah,
tells you, so that's cool.
yeah.
One more from Chica Bonita. During the pandemic, a lot more players began or restarted playing online. Did that make it harder for you to play or easier? And again, obviously, this is a little bit personal, but like, to what degree or extent did that affect your bankroll that online period of time?
Um, I would at any given moment say that the more people that start playing, the better it is for me.
Mhm.
Because to give you an idea, and this is not me blowing myself up, but they would go for anybody in my skill level. If you would transport me back 3 or 4 years in time, I'd be the best tournament player. That's how much new info there has come to poker. That's how much
Wow.
studying has improved. That's just how much knowledge there is, right? And this goes for people that are similar in my skill level or whatever, and obviously even more so for people that are better than me. But there are so many new sort of like bet sizes, tricks, lines that people have figured out, good hands to do stuff with, or ICM, right? Just how much do pay jumps affect the decisions that I'm making? There's so much more knowledge about that now, and so much more access to studying it. That just wasn't like even 3 4 years ago. There was much more stuff based on opinion, and so if you are to ask me, like, if a lot of good players come back from that used to play a lot 4 years ago, yeah, sure, they're going to be better than the next guy, but I still have an edge on them. So it's just
Right.
another person in a tournament that I have an edge on. Never mind. Like if somebody's, I mean, this might be, yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is. If somebody was world class 10 years ago and they would start playing now, they're dog shit.
Wow.
That's just the
That
way it is.
wow.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna put you in tough spots, right?
Sure.
They're smart people. They know how to really do stuff. But if you really look at like elegant, sort of like smart, savvy, high pressure poker strategy, you just blow them away. They're gonna have a really miserable time. If somebody that plays $55 buy-ins now and is good at them, $55 buy-ins, so mid stakes, play against somebody that used to play 5Ks 10 years ago, there'd be a fucking nightmare to play against for the people that played 10 years ago.
Wow.
So
Unbelievable.
yeah, people are just really fucking good, and people play like gangsters these days. It's really crazy. Like if you and people all sometimes like if you would ask me like is a solver bad for poker? Like I mean it would be better if they weren't there, but it doesn't make poker more boring. It's characters can make poker boring, but if you would put a solver in a tournament, they would play like the biggest fucking maniac. You would think that they just came down from an after party at the strip. They're still drunk out of their fucking brain and they have way too much money. That's how they would play. So, people play like gangsters these days and people deserve credit for that as well. Also, people that play mid stakes. If you're a mid stakes winner, you're really fucking good and you would smash people that played 10 years ago. Now, the person that was really good 10 years ago is very smart and you're going to be in a river decision. You're like, oh, fuck, that's really smart. But if we play 100 situations, I'm going to put them way more in that spot than they would put me, right? So, um, the more people play tournaments, the better for me, right? So, all the best players in the world are already playing and they're continuing to play. And if you get out of that train, the train is going to drive on very fast
Oh
with
yeah.
new things that are being studied. And I think that's that's definitely not a compliment to me, right? But it's a compliment to the game and the depth of the game, that this game has been played for so many decades and that still 5 years can make such a difference in it.
Absolutely. Last one, Acid Burn FX, one of our wonderful commenters. Our last question we'd like to end off one, it's a nice little bow to sort of tie it all together because we've gotten into your whole love for poker and your career for poker and in Twitch and, your whole life, to a degree, you really have to be all in to achieve the levels that you've achieved. Acid Burn FX wants to know, what would you be doing if not for poker?
Yeah, I used to have all sorts of answers to that question, but I mean, I've been playing poker for 18 years now. I'm 38. Like, look at back, like what kind of where I was at in my development, in my interest in life, like my emotional levels. I mean, I was 20 years old. Like I was just a kid, So I used to have all these questions for it, or maybe options trading, or maybe this, or maybe I used to I would have loved to study history if I didn't drop out of school. like who knows? You know, I've gone through almost apart from puberty, I've gone through almost all of the development stages in my life while I was playing poker. So at this point, I really don't fucking know. I really don't. I mean, I can say what I would do after this. You know,
Okay.
what would be an interest of mine or something. I think that one of the things that let's say, right, because I'm still I think that right now at the stage where I'm at the same level of enthusiasm of poker as when I first started getting good
That's
and climbing the ranks.
amazing.
A
That's
100%,
awesome.
like hand to my heart. I am absolutely in love with the game and playing and learning and everything and doing it every day. So I love that. If let's say hypothetically, I completely fall out of love with it in 4 years, and I'm just like, okay, guys, this is 22 years. This was it for me. I think the first thing I would do is start streaming variety games. So I would just
Hmm.
start picking like a new game, Elden Ring that comes out, play through. Then fucking new Zelda comes out, play through. Hang out with people, interact with people around it. Um, I Okay, really out of left field, and don't think I've ever really said this, but I think one of the first things I would try if I would not play poker anymore is write a fantasy book.
A fantasy book, a
Yeah, I
fantasy gaming.
love no, I just fucking love reading fantasy.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I read, you know, I'm reading Wheel of Time now, but I've read so many trilogies, books because I feel like it completely takes me out of a setting and it's completely relaxing to me. I love fantasy shows, whatever. So just like seeing if I can put some creativity in that, if that would be something. My sister is in this like very high level writing school, where like in her final year she actually has to publish like a fiction, and she's really good at it, and it's kind of inspiring to hear her stories, and it kind of makes me feel like, you know,
Hmm.
I've always loved to write blogs when I was younger and stuff, and written strategy articles, so I kind of like doing that kind of stuff. So maybe that's something I would love, but it's super out of left field. But
Nice.
um,
Huh.
I usually think that if you have a lot of passion for something and you really enjoy what you're doing, for me at least, that's all I'm doing. I'm experiencing it right now. It's like I feel like the moment you start thinking about like what else would I try to do, that's kind of that you already start reaching a crossroads, right? Like
Right.
maybe you want to do something else, or maybe you need to reinvigorate your passion for what you're doing. Maybe that's the answer, but that's not on my mind at all.
Sure.
Um,
Well, poker's going to have you for a long time yet, I'm sure. But
yeah.
folks, you heard it here first on the Cards Chat podcast. When you see the New York Times best-selling author Lex Veldhuis, you heard it here first. Thank you, everyone who sent in questions for Lex. And just again, a friendly reminder to all of you out there in the Cards Chat community, we'd love to see you submit your questions for our future podcast guests in the dedicated thread on the forums. Guys, please be sure to give us a good review on iTunes and spread the word via your social media channels if you like the show. Lex, this has been an absolute pleasure. Before we let you go, is there anything else you'd like to tell the Cards Chat audience?
Um, yeah, be honest to yourself. Put your fucking head down and work. If you want to achieve something, poker something that can bring a lot of beautiful things, but you have to really work hard and be smart about it. If you want to ask me anything else, if there were any unanswered questions, you know, I'm Lex Veldhuis across all socials, twitch.tv/Lex Veldhuis. If you want to check out the stream sometime, I'd love to have you. And it's a good community to join and just experience and laugh at some poker together. So thanks for listening in, and rock on.
Awesome. Boom, you heard it here. Thanks again so much for Lex Veldhuis. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Cards Chat podcast. I'm Robbie Straczynski. You can follow me on Twitter at CardPlayerLife. I wish you all a wonderful day.